Salvaj is about... I'm closing my eyes.
Yes.
Okay. What is Salvaj about? So Salvaj, as you know... What's it about? Salvaj... Okay, thanks for the prompt. Salvaj is about police diver, Ishak, undertaking the most difficult dive of his career. That's not diving, that's swimming. That's... That's diving. Whew. Okay, so what is Salvaj about? Right? So Salvaj is about... I look at your face. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Don't smile, don't smile. Cannot smile. You see, no, cannot. I see your hand also cannot. Okay, fine. What's Salvaj about? Okay, Salvaj is about a police diver named Ishak who has to deal with the emotional perils of the reconciliation between him and his estranged brother Ismail. All of this while having to undertake the most difficult dive of his career. That's what it is about.
Well, my name is Asamat, and I'm a composer, guitarist, ukulele player, and educator.
All right, so my name's Chris. I did the sound design and audio post-mixing for Salvaj.
I perform and I tour playing festivals, and just a lot of it's on solo acoustic guitar. That's kind of the focus, but also I do a lot of electric guitar stuff as well. And most recently it's been jazzy ukulele, fingerstyle ukulele.
I'd say, yeah, I've been doing audio post for at least 15 years now. You can change the tone, the mood, the feel of what you see on screen or complement it. You don't need to change it. You can complement what's going on and enhance and sweeten.
I've never scored a short film before, so this is my very first time I scored a short film. I basically like working with people who have they have an idea of what they want to do. They have a vision. So just reading it, when I got the script, I got not just the script, but later on like 2 whole PDFs of information about the film, and just like what's the story, what's the all the pictures of how the scenes are going to look like, the color, the light, kind of the motivation for the characters. I could see how much thought was put into it from even before I saw the film. It gave me a lot of ideas, inspiration to begin with. So I kind of had like different things in my head, different thoughts about how to approach it.
It's pretty rare. Some directors are actually very intense with sound. And if you look at the credits, you'll actually see John Cho's name at the end of for sound design. Because sometimes some directors have a very, very distinct notion of what they want to hear, when they want to hear it, and how it will happen. I get an offline cut. And usually that offline cut is basically 2 tracks of dialogue, and that's it. But with working with John, I ended up with something like 30 different tracks, full Foley for footsteps, music cues, rain noise, everything was in there. So all I had to do was touch them up a little bit, replace a few of the sounds with the higher quality versions. There was no mystery involved for that part at all. It was all, okay, I know exactly what he wants, what you're doing, and then I can come in and just touch it up and sweeten it up.
For me, a lot of times, sound is an underrated part of the film. So whilst a lot of people spend a lot of time on making the visual look nice, very few people actually go to the extent of making the sound good.
There are portions which are reality-based, and you just need to reinforce and get it sounding nice. And then there's whole sections of Salvaj where it's mystery. You don't exactly know what's going on, and there's an underlying tone of something is not quite right. Typically with sound design and mixing, there's, 2 objectives. One, to clarify the plot and to clarify the focus. It's same thing as cameras have focus, and they have different focal lengths. Some stuff's in focus, some's out of focus. Sound is also like that.
Ist jemand sicher? 4,
Henry did a good job recording. The bar dialogue is all actual real dialogue. The more real audio you have, the more natural it's going to sound. The outdoor scenes with the rain, that's all dialogue replaced.
Sana, Sana! What was the other one? Inspector topside?
Yeah, Inspector.
I think that's
Just
better, right?
Inspector.
It's like
Or
there,
or you can
there.
just say Inspector. You know?
Well, he's already very aware.
Ini Jay ada.
The fake rain is actually created by a giant pump. The giant pump is going "Whoa" the whole time. It's impossible to save any dialogue.
Okay.
When I saw the visuals, it was obvious that the story has a very haunting quality to it. And it has a haunting quality to it, and it has, there's mystery. It's basically not happy music. I couldn't possibly do happy music. It would be like, you know, if I went something like, we're in the water, yo, it doesn't work. When I'm doing creative works, this is kind of my palette. And so I knew I wanted tremolo. It's basically this kind of sound that, it kind of sets the tempo. You hear, you know, when I play, I'm playing a chord once, and tremolo is often associated with like wavery, watery sounds, you know. And that gives, and because it's on electric guitar and you know it's pretty loud, you get a lot of sustain. So it's just like, you know, it's like a ripple in the water. You know, you just like, you put, like if you throw a stone into the water, and then there's a rippling effect. So that's one of the imageries I had in my head. I've always liked tremolo for that. So I knew I wanted to do something like that. And I knew I wanted to use this other pedal I had, which is a freeze pedal. So you'll hear this in the film. You hear one part where it's swelling. It's basically an organ sound. It's almost like, you know, like a pipe organ, kind of sustaining, long sustain. So it makes you feel like you didn't hear a guitar, you heard something else. And you would hear me do probably a little like volume swell. And so I can play over that.
Yeah. When I first received the music, it was wall to wall music, and I thought, wow, okay, how am I going to incorporate this into the movie and still get it to work? The film itself, it seems a little bit disjointed and mysterious. You don't understand what's going on where or why. And what the music ended up doing was, with one continuous stream of music through the whole thing, it actually ended up gelling the whole movie together. So I actually ended up quite liking the way the music worked through the piece. And so the challenge on the sound design side was just trying to find out where I can let the music bleed in louder and bleed out quieter without disrupting the tone and the actual what's going on in the scene. Sometimes you have initial reactions, and sometimes you play it, then sometimes you try doing different things, and suddenly, oh yeah, it does kind of work.
Part of the brief was this kind of wall-to-wall sound. So it's kind of gluing the, I think it's kind of hopefully gluing the story together. Because, you know, when you shoot a film, obviously, like, not every take is happening right, you know, it's taking a long time. But the music is in one take, so hopefully it gives that kind of flow from beginning to end.
I've actually gone diving myself, and in diving, you realize when you go diving, the first thing I noticed, it drove me insane, was the crackling that's like that. And one of the stories that we had to make, that John told me about, that had to be in the film, was a little bit of the crackling, but also that there's a story of hearing voices underwater. So it's some sort of audio hallucination, I don't know.
My name is Khamarul Arifin Zainal. So I work professionally in a corporate life, but I'm also a scuba diving instructor. And on the sides, I also do volunteer jobs for rescue work. Yeah. There's one drowning case involving a 9-year-old. By the time we got into the water, it was like about midnight. While I was diving, I started to hear voices, two people talking. I couldn't make out what they were talking about. And then I started to hear people like using a pole and walking on sand. So I thought, this is going to be like, hopefully it stops, because it's not natural.
Even with this great guitar track, we go from the bar scene and it flows straight into the water scene. But as you see from there, there's no real transition. So I would supplement that sound with a little extra oomph, which is what you see, this big purple blob here. So you get big, and then you can hear the voices. So that in combination with those sounds, the voices and the ramp out, kind of, they suck you into the scene and suck you back out into reality. So with the music, it all comes together. So that was the most fun part. The actual voices and sucking back into reality. It's a fun little thing to do.
In the film, there's a lot of dualities. There's rain, there's the underwater scene, so two kinds of water. There's brothers. Even in the bar, when Gavin, the bartender, was talking to another guy, there's two people there. There's a mirror image of two people and the mirror. Yeah, that's why the score is called Duality. Yeah, it's a lot of it. I saw it everywhere. I mean, black and white, them in the hoods, and then the two divers. Above ground, underwater. There's tons of things. Yeah.
Roger, police diver 714. Over.